Hello, my friend. Welcome to the content business, where I explore all the different ways that people and brands are making money with content. No matter where you are at in your career, if you're just starting out, or if you're in the middle of a job that you hate, or if you're thinking of being a creator, or if you're already working as a freelancer, I want to explore all the different ways that you can take your personal brand or your business and actually potentially make more money with it to help drive more customers to the thing that you're selling, or to drive more attention to who you are in terms of your personal brand. It is not too late to get started. I'm experimenting with all these different ways that people are making money with content, so I'm going to show you the results so you can do exactly the same thing. When you think about content, it is a business. You either get paid to create content because you're a professional video creator or photographer or copywriter, and you're actually making content and selling it to clients that helps them do business, or you're making content that can be purchased, including you might create a course or you might create a digital download like an ebook or something. But you could also make a book that's actually on Amazon, or you could make a feature film, or you could make a TV show. All of these are forms of content that you sell. Now, the other side of it is using that content to drive traffic to your personal brand because you're offering a product or service, or you want to get hired, or you want to get noticed, or you work for a company and that company needs to get noticed. You have to create content. That can be a billboard, it can be a TV advertisement, it can be a YouTube video, it can be organic social media content to get noticed. So those are the two sides of the content business: is selling the content itself or getting paid to produce the content, or driving traffic to the thing that you're doing. And the thing that I want you to think about is that when you actually promote yourself to go for a job interview, you send them your resume, your CV. That's content marketing, right? You write a cover letter and you prepare all of your experience and you send that off as a PDF. You've just tried to sell yourself using content. So no matter what you do in life, you are using content to engage people and to sell. And if the only thing you sell is your time for an entire year in advance because you're signing an employment contract, you still sold and promoted yourself. You went to the job interview, you pitched, and they liked what you had to offer, and you signed the contract and you do the deal. The deal is you being a full-time employee. Now, the deal might be that you're a freelancer. The deal might be that you are running your own company and you're getting individual sales through e-commerce, or you might do something bigger where you're engaging people and you're a contractor for a longer period of time. There's all these different ways that we sell our time and our products and services that we make, but we have to do this through content. We communicate with people to get their interest so they're aware of what we do. Then they can see if they're interested to actually go to the next step. They make a decision if they want to engage us or buy from us, and then they take action to do it. And those are the steps of the funnel that you lead people through to engage with you to actually get what you have to offer. You've got to get attention, but you actually got to close them so you can actually make money from that thing. And if the only money you want to make is literally working full time for someone, you're still going to promote yourself with content to get noticed. And even if that's just your LinkedIn profile with all the work experience you've had, that's still copywriting. That is still getting noticed. So your personal brand is really, really important. Even if the only thing you're doing is to get hired with your existing resume, the content you share with people is still vital. But you can expand this and extend it in different ways now because you've got all these different ways to promote yourself, the product you're selling, or the business that you're running. There's no limit to what you can do. The ability to sell your knowledge in the form of products is an incredible way to leverage your time, but not everyone is comfortable doing it. I'm going to talk about this separately in future episodes, but the key thing is that stuff that is really ordinary and obvious to you will be completely revolutionary to someone else, right? Because you do it every day. So it doesn't seem that interesting or revolutionary or amazing, but there are other people who are just getting started who think what you do is amazing. No matter what your job is, you could be doing plumbing, you could be doing flooring, you could be building spacecraft. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Some of the drudgery and the everyday stuff that you do will seem boring, but to someone who wants to be in that industry or to buy that product or do the thing you're doing, they will find it completely fascinating. And sometimes it's just the customer. They become a really big fan of the thing that you're making and the fact that you're sharing this journey, and they buy into it. They literally subscribe to you as a content creator, and they subscribe to your business by buying the product and coming back for more. You want to turn them into repeat visitors for your business, for your personal brand, right? You want to get more repeat visitors if you're a contractor. You want to continue to be hired by the company you're in and similar companies in future by being purchased, by being subscribed to by that industry, by that company. And if you're selling individual units of products, you want the same people to keep coming back and buying more of those or recommending their friends to do the same thing. You want these subscribers that are following you over a long period of time, the brand that you've created for yourself or your business. You want those people to follow you, to subscribe, and to purchase on a regular basis, because there's nothing worse than sitting here and not being bought. If you are between jobs and you're waiting to get noticed, you're waiting to get picked up, you're waiting for the phone to ring for the service that you're offering, you're waiting for those orders to ding on Shopify, nothing's happening. So you've got to get more attention, more momentum, so you can get the thing that you're offering to the person who's going to buy it and take it from you. Do not worry at the beginning how many people are looking at your content. It's simply about doing it regularly. And the more content you have over time, the more people can discover you. And you can take all that content that you've put on one platform and syndicate it to other platforms. That's the journey that I'm going through now, to take all 600 of those TikTok videos that I've made now and put them on Instagram, put them on Facebook, put them on YouTube Shorts. So now I suddenly have 600 videos in 4 places. And I really start to get this scale around my personal brand. In most cases, I get more views on YouTube Shorts than I'm getting on TikTok. So I haven't done anything different. I haven't changed the captions. I haven't changed the description. And I'm not even engaging that much on that YouTube channel. I'm not making comments on other people's videos. I'm not liking content, because it's this really old channel that I had from like 2007. And I've only just started uploading to it regularly. So I haven't really used it in the same way that I'm using TikTok, where I'll go on for half an hour and respond to comments. I'll reply to comments on my videos. I'll be engaging on the platform in a different way. At the moment, I'm just using YouTube Shorts as a channel and syndicating my content from TikTok, and the Shorts are still getting thousands of views. The long form content is not getting that many views yet, because I've only got like 150 subscribers or something, and I've got like 15,000 on TikTok. So I'm still starting from like a really small level. And that's my point to you, if you're consuming this content right now, is that this podcast probably still has a really low amount of views and watches. It doesn't matter. It's still more than one person, because when you are working in a company and a manager hired you to join a team, that's like a one-on-one interaction. And if you are selling a product or selling a service to a person, you tend to interact with them one-on-one. Content gives you scale. You can be seen at any time in the future by a new person that can buy your personal brand or buy your product and service. They can discover you organically and engage with you and decide to then invest in that relationship more if they like what you're offering. But if you do not share content, you're invisible and you can't be discovered. So you just have to make more stuff and you will be more visible. Why is most corporate and business related content so boring? The answer is that it's usually designed by committee. There's lots of people that get involved in the script and all the talking points and all the features and benefits that are going to be explained about the product. And it's all boring stuff, because it's what's known as more middle of funnel or bottom of funnel, where people are actually making a decision about whether or not they want to buy. That's not what gets you attention. The stuff that gets you attention at the top of the funnel is entertainment. And a really good way to think about this is when you see TV advertising, especially Super Bowl TV commercials. In most cases, the Super Bowl TV commercials are a short film. They're designed to be entertaining. They're designed to be ridiculous to get as much attention as possible. Then once they have your attention, you can then work out if you're interested in the product. You can decide if you want to buy the product, and then you can take action to buy the product. But you're only going to get further down that funnel if there is more interesting stuff to draw you down there. Now, there are some brands that you will see where you see something entertaining and you never end up buying that brand at all. You're not interested. It's not suitable for your lifestyle. It's not something you need, but you still might find the content exciting and engaging and hilarious, and you actually tell other people, or you might share it with other people. And at some point, if someone asks you about a particular product that they need, you might remember that memorable ad that you saw. So the advertising is still useful to hook people who aren't even going to buy. They can still refer and recommend that thing to other people. Hey, have you seen that thing? I saw that thing the other day. It looks really cool. That might be what you're looking for. So this awareness is really important to get. But usually, when businesses are talking about their product or their business and they want to sound impressive, they're just talking about lots of corporate jargon and lots of stuff about their business that's irrelevant and people don't care about. But one of the coolest things about social media is that you get to have a different tone of voice on different platforms, because obviously with LinkedIn being a very B2B platform, you have much more of a corporate business-like tone of voice that people are using. But then on TikTok, it's much more casual. On Instagram, you get this sort of really polished, sort of nice sort of lifestyle example. And then YouTube Shorts ends up being even more of this entertainment stuff that originally was really popular on TikTok. So each channel has a slightly different vibe, basically, depending on what you're trying to communicate and also what the audience is expecting there as well. For example, if you upload content to LinkedIn, which is like skits and stunts and people like falling in their pool, it's kind of not relevant for the audience, right? But you can still potentially do something entertaining on LinkedIn to get attention, but it has to be appropriate for that audience. All of these different platforms will have a slightly different vibe in terms of the way that they communicate and they like to communicate and the way that the algorithm recommends content, but also what the audiences on those platforms are looking for and they expect to see and what the content is that they engage with. When most people start speaking to camera, they sound really robotic and they don't have any authenticity and kind of human elements to them because they're overthinking how they're going to be perceived and they're overthinking how their company is going to be perceived as well, because they're trying to make like a corporate presentation and like remember all the lines and then potentially read a script with every single line that's been decided by committee and approved for release to the audience. And that's not what gets you this organic reach on social media. You have to do things that are a little bit more engaging, a little bit more risky, a little bit more fun. And if you don't like it, you can pull it down, you can set it to private, you can delete it, whatever. But the whole point is about experimenting and doing something fun. Now, of course, this is more risky because we've all seen examples where corporations kind of like missed the mark and did something that was a little bit too far. But as long as you have those checks and balances where people can kind of look at the content and work out if it's worth taking the risk, that's the thing you need to go through to work out if it's a valuable thing for you to do. But the key thing to remember is when you are talking to the camera, you have to do it like you're talking to a person that you know. Every single time I'm talking to the camera, I'm speaking like a friend that I know really well, that I'm sharing my advice with, that I want to engage with. I want to make sure I don't sound robotic. I'm not going to read a script word for word because my friend would get bored. It'd be insulting to their time. I want to make sure I try to provide things that are really valuable to you, that you find inspiring and they're actually useful and practical for you to apply. And if I can continue to do that, hopefully I get more viewers like you that like the stuff that I'm actually talking about. And so the same is true for you. If you start engaging and speaking authentically about what you do, the business that you work for or the brand that you're creating, you'll get more people engaging with you as a normal, genuine conversation, just like if you picked up the phone and talked to them or if you met them in person. If you can be authentic and talk to people naturally, you'll get more engagement for whatever you're working on. But the number one platform that people are sleeping on is LinkedIn. And that's the reason that I'm wearing a suit today, is because I wanted to put myself into this frame of this packaging that people expect for a platform like LinkedIn. LinkedIn now supports video content in a vertical format. If you look inside the app, there is a video button that you can literally tap and scroll through and you will start seeing content. Now, the reason they put this in there is really simple. It's because they wanted to, A, be able to sell advertising, which is vertical video, but B, they realized so many people are actually creating content for their businesses, for their brands, and so they can actually put this content into this feed and actually make sure it works. And there's a third reason for this as well. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, which means it's the only social media company that Microsoft actually owns. Meta has all of the social media platforms. Microsoft only got one of them, and it's this corporate sort of business thing. But over time, they do want it to be more rounded and more human. And potentially in future, Microsoft actually might decide to do its own vertical video platform, for example. With the potential ban to TikTok, all of these corporations in the US have been trying to work out, can we make something that's appropriate for our audience? Microsoft has billions of dollars they can spend to build something or to acquire something else to actually make this stuff happen. But in the meantime, they're experimenting on how this content works on LinkedIn. But if you want to get more attention for your personal brand, the company that you work for, or the product that you're actually selling, you need to be creating more content on LinkedIn. Vertical video that goes into this vertical video feed. And the thing that will get you is a completely new audience that's different to the audience that you're getting on TikTok or YouTube Shorts or Instagram. And if you want to get more scale and more reach for what you do, it's an ideal place to start doing that. There's very few people that are uploading on a regular basis. Less than 1% of the users on LinkedIn upload one piece of content a week. So if you want to be in the top 1% of all LinkedIn content creators, all you have to do is upload one piece of content a week. That's it. Because most people are uploading content for their company, for their brand. You need to do this on your individual page as you. You can represent the company you work for. You can talk about the kind of work that you do. You can talk about the product you've made, or you can simply talk about the insights and the stuff that's interesting for you. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Why do you actually do the job that you do? What are you passionate about? Those are the most important things that you can share because they're relatable, they're human. The selfie of you in front of the company that you work for will get more views than if you just took a picture of the building and you weren't in the picture, right? The content with humans is what we find engaging and relevant and interesting, and it's what the algorithm promotes more of. So if you can find a way to make your content more engaging by turning it into video, I'm positive you will find a bigger and more interesting audience for what you're doing. And that's what I've been doing with all this content on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Shorts, is to experiment with what's working and identify the right tone and content that can potentially work. And so the next phase is to kind of like take this potentially more business-like content and experiment with that on LinkedIn. Now, I think by being really engaging and being really authentic, you can actually potentially engage the right audience for you, because LinkedIn is going to be like really ultra local. When we look at content on social media platforms, it's usually shown to us from all over the world, because consumers like international brands. We want to see international holidays and stuff that just looks interesting. But I think LinkedIn is going to be far more local in terms of the sorts of businesses that do business with each other in terms of B2B kind of business networking, and potentially to find customers and service providers in the local area that you're at. So for example, if you are a service provider and you want to communicate with people, LinkedIn is going to be a really good platform to do that, because the people in your area will see that. So I think you'll see a lot more content on there that's much more local around other providers in the same country. I don't think it's going to be like any other social media platforms. It's going to be quite unique in terms of the B2B audience. But because you don't have the opportunity to be early onto any of these other platforms that are really established, you can be really early onto LinkedIn, because this is the only social media platform that Microsoft has, right? Like there's all these other platforms that Meta has, and Google even tried to have their own and it didn't work. So Meta is where all of the social media platforms are, but Microsoft has their own one, right? LinkedIn. So they want to be able to turn this into an advertising engine. They want to encourage businesses to advertise in vertical video, but the only way people are going to watch that feed is if there's also a lot of organic content on there. So you can actually share a lot of the same sort of content that you put onto any other platform onto LinkedIn. It's going to be a really important platform to get on early. So I'm going to share all the experiments that I go through to try that out. And so I want to share that with you and see how this is going. So if you are watching this on LinkedIn, let me know, leave a like, leave a comment, and tell me if you're going to do the same thing as well. The next point I wanted to make is about things being perfect. Your content doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be finished. You have to be able to deliver something so you can post it. And when you are going through this process, things will not work smoothly all the time. I probably just recorded for another 25 minutes, but my phone ran out of storage space. I hadn't deleted all of my recently deleted videos. So the thing just literally stopped recording, and I'd probably kept talking for 25 minutes. So I had a whole bunch of really good points in there, and I'm going to have to talk about them again. But it doesn't matter, because this is part of the thing. I'm talking about the stuff that I enjoy sharing, and you have to be able to create this momentum and have this positivity that you are trying to help this one person. Whenever I speak on camera, I'm just trying to help this one friend that I want to talk to and engage with. So even if they missed that 25 minutes I was talking about, I can still do it again, because I care about communicating with them and delivering to them. And that person is you, because you've turned up and you're listening to this. I'm only thinking about an audience of one. I listen to podcasts and watch videos on YouTube on my own. So I'm expecting that almost every single time when someone consumes this, it's just one person. You're sitting there watching this on your phone or listening on your phone. And so I'm speaking to you. I want to help you, and I want to help you make all the other content that you can use to drive an audience to the thing that you're offering, the thing that you're doing, to be discoverable. One of the key things that I think is vital to remember is learning to drive will change your life. It gives you this freedom and flexibility and agency over your own life, a sense of power and control that you never have if you're always just a passenger. If you're sitting in the back of an Uber and they're delivering you to a destination, or you're driving around and your friend is dropping you off, or you're getting on a bus, or you're getting on a tram, or you're getting on a plane, you're asking permission to travel on that mode of transport. You don't have to ask anyone's permission when you walk outside and get in your car. You can drive literally anywhere you want. And you have to be responsible for controlling this vehicle. You have to make sure you can follow the road rules. You have to respond to different conditions. You have to maneuver. You have to change direction. All of the things you do when you're controlling a vehicle are about how you operate yourself in space and time in the world. Because when you run your own business, you have to navigate through things. You have to pivot. You have to change. You have to take a whole bunch of stuff with you. And if you've never learnt to drive, you don't know what it feels like to have this level of power and control and responsibility. So if you are a millennial or Gen Z and you haven't learnt to drive yet because you just didn't need to, and it's more convenient to do other stuff, but you're still struggling to take action in the other areas of your life, and you're struggling to feel like you have a sense of control, go and learn to drive, because it changes the brain chemistry of your mind. Because humans have been doing this for a really long time. If you rewind 150, 200 years ago, the first time you would have ridden a horse and decided where to go and got your own horse and then attached a cart to it so you could go pick stuff up and bring stuff back, it would have changed the chemistry of your brain, because you suddenly realized you had independence, freedom, power, control, and the ability to go and get resources. You can drive your car, pick up a whole bunch of stuff and bring it back, and you don't have to ask anyone to help you. So this is really important. If you have skipped over learning to drive because you didn't get around to it, you're a bit nervous about it, you just didn't think it was relevant, go and do it because it helps give you this momentum about all these other things that you're not quite doing yet in your life. It is a skill that you will use for your entire life, but it also gives you such a feeling of control and power and scale. You can literally go anywhere you want in your own country if you just get in your car. It's an incredible feeling. And if you've skipped over that because it just kind of wasn't relevant, you're skipping over other things that give you control and power and freedom. When you get in that car and you get behind the wheel and you realize that you're the one that's responsible for where you are going, you realize that you can do that with anything in your life. Your career, your business, anything, you can steer it, you can control it, and you can get it to a destination. That is a feeling that you want for the thing that you're working on. And if you have managed to start a business without learning to drive, I applaud you. That's fantastic. But if you haven't kind of got to that stage yet and you're still thinking about what you want to do and thinking about how you can apply yourself, it's one hack that will really get you the freedom and the flexibility that you're actually looking for in your life is learning to drive. I guarantee you it will work. One of the reasons you feel stuck is because of the amount of social media that you're consuming. You have to switch over and become a producer of content, not just a consumer. These platforms have algorithms that are really good at showing you all this different inspirational stuff. And if you consume too much of those things, you can start to feel overwhelmed that you're not at the place that you wanted to be in your life, that you haven't traveled enough extensively, that your business isn't successful enough, that you're not working in the job that you wanted to work in. These platforms will show you so much content so quickly. You're changing context all the time. If you think about when you were growing up and watching TV, how distracting it would be to change the channel every few seconds. That's what you're doing when you're scrolling through a feed. So you need to be able to, first of all, make more content that you can share so you're being watched and not the person watching. But also, you need to kind of go on a low information diet. You need to restrict the amount of social media that you're consuming, but also switch it around so you can actually watch longer form content again. And one of the most important hacks I have is get YouTube Premium because I don't get interrupted by any ads now when I watch content on YouTube. I can actually focus on really good, informative, educational content for 20 or 30 minutes, and I do not get distracted by a single thing. Nothing pops up that suggests all these great hacks for e-commerce or content production or social media or here's this new course I should do. I don't see any of that stuff. I only see the thing that I intended to watch. And that has helped me to be more focused and more patient about how I create content. I can now talk to camera for more than an hour producing content because I've taught myself again to be more focused and more patient and more methodical. Whereas there was certainly a few years there where I was just consuming so much social media content, I was overwhelmed and I didn't realize that I could concentrate and create something that someone else can watch and someone else can follow. So if you find yourself getting overwhelmed, getting irritated, getting annoyed by social media, you're consuming too much of it. I have 15-minute limits on the apps that I use. And even though I usually go over those a few times during the day, it still reminds me that my intention was to use it for less than 15 minutes. So if I ended up doing like 3 chunks and I've used it for 45 minutes, I kind of have a good way to buffer myself, to give myself that level of self-control that I don't always have when I get on social media. Because I remember the first time I downloaded TikTok, I was standing in my lounge and I just scrolled for like an hour and a half. And I just got completely sucked in by the algorithm and I lost an hour and a half of my life. And I looked up and the sun had gone down. I did not notice a thing. I was just completely absorbed inside my phone. So if you find yourself doing that, you have to like pull yourself out of it because you're looking at all this other activity that people are doing, but you're static. You're not doing any activity. So if you want to get more momentum for your career, for your business, the thing you want to start, you have to have an action bias. You have to do more stuff. You have to do more activity, which includes just sharing more content. You have to become a producer of content, not just a consumer. There is a balancing act there where I go on the platform and I consume content while I'm uploading. I have to interact with comments and DMs and messages, and I have to spend some time on the platform so the platform knows I'm a real person. I'm not just a bot that opens the platform for 5 minutes, uploads a video and closes it. I have to do some interactivity and engage with the platform. But then once I'm done, I can go and focus on other things. And I've had to teach myself to do that over a period of time because there was a period where I was using social media or different platforms for like hours every single day because it was an escape from where I was. I wasn't happy at the time. And so I was using it as escape. But you get to use social media platforms as a vehicle for discovery for your personal brand, the business or the thing you're trying to create. You can get attention for the thing that you're making if you share more content regularly. So this is what I'm going through and experimenting with all these different ways to do it and show you everything that I'm doing so you can copy and do exactly the same thing. You can get attention for the thing you're trying to create, but not if you were just consuming all the time. You have to make something. And you're not too late. you can start creating content anytime you want, because all of these platforms goes through these growth phases and then new ones come along. But the thing that will stay is the fact that we all like to hear from people, we buy from people, and we're also very used to now watching this vertical video content. Doesn't matter what platform it's going to be on. The fact that Snapchat and Instagram and YouTube Shorts and TikTok have all copied each other, because this vertical video format inside this frame is how we consume video now, how we consume stuff that we want to find out. This is something that you can use for your personal brand or your business. You know this already because you're watching this video right now. So you are not too late. You can start sharing this content on any platform, including LinkedIn, and get attention for what you are trying to do. So that's why I'm doing all this stuff, why I'm experimenting and trying to encourage you to say it's not too late to get started. It doesn't matter what stage you're at in your business or your career, you can still share more to engage with people so they can get what you're offering. Right? Doesn't matter if you're just offering yourself to get employed, or you're offering what you have as a freelancer, or you're offering your product or service so people can buy it. You need to get discovered. You need to get people aware of what you're doing, and you can use these social media platforms for free to make organic content that people can discover at any time in the future. This is like time travel. You're watching this right now, months or even years into the future when I've made it. You can stumble across this and discover it, and people will do the same thing for your content. It's why I'm here. It's why I'm turning up regularly for you to share everything I've learned about this process so you can copy everything I do, learn it for yourself, and get the results that you want. That's why I'm turning up. That's why I'm showing up. And that's why I'll keep doing it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And I'll see you again soon.